Serial killer? I've got a problem, Alleycat, and you're going to help me solve it. I do a lot of business with Wampoans. If you're not familiar with the term, I'll forgive you. You are an outsider, after all. The Wampoans are a tribe of techno-fetishists and deckers who've taken up residence in the Whampoa Garden area of Hong Kong. They make and trade high-tech goods to people from all over the world. A lot of Nguyen passes through their pasty little fingers, and I make a lot of money brokering deals between them and the smugglers here in Hioi. I've hit a snag, though. The Wampoan elders, their council of leaders, are being eliminated by a serial killer. They've asked me to dispatch someone to get to the bottom of it and stop the killings, and they're not taking their goods through my turf until I do. So you're going to be my proxy, dear. I don't care how you do it, but I need those murders stopped. The Wampoans have delegates here in Hioi by the name of Maximum Law. Speak with him if you wish to know about Whampoa. He's got a big mouth, but he knows very little of importance. Don't expect much from that half-empty bottle of vinegar. I don't know why I struggled so much on that one. You get your ass down to Whampoa Garden and talk to the elders. Lie, cheat, and steal if you have to, so long as they're convinced that there won't be any more murders. I want my cut back, and I want it soon. It's a good one to start with, I think. I like this one a lot. This is a very good case. Did I actually post that? Yeah. Actually, let's read, hold on, there we go. You, rappelling down the side of an unnamed luxury hotel in a ball gown on Monday night. Me, admiring the view from the 28th floor urinals during a private soiree for an unnamed corporation that I was infiltrating. Our eyes met briefly before you dropped out of sight, your long, dark hair come loose from your chignon, framing your beautiful flushed face. I will never forget it. You were carrying a duffel bag bulging with stolen prototype weaponry. Well, I filched the intel that goes with it. Can we connect? Very funny, Blackjack. I'm sure the job went sideways. I got trapped and had only one way out. We were supposed to have each other's backs. Just wait till you hear the way out that I had to take. You gotta lay low for now. And why are we posting about this on a public message board? Been hearing some buzz about some mainlander terrorists that showed up in Victoria Harbor and had a shootout with the HKPF the other day. Anyone heard anything on that? Ming Pao said there were 4 of them that got away. 1 human, 2 orcs, and a dwarf. A troll, an elf, and a human were all killed on the scene. Word is that they're members of the White Star out of Henan, coming here to start trouble against the Executive Council. Looks like there's a $50,000 new yen reward for any information leading to their capture. The HKPF seems pretty nervous about letting these bastards walk freely around the streets. You think they'd actually pay out to somebody like us? Not a chance. You walk in there to claim the reward, you're going to get thrown in a hole with them. The HKPF doesn't keep promises to the sinless. Couldn't hurt to try. Why do you have to be such a downer? Because I know the police. They're all dirty, they're only in it to protect their paychecks, and they don't give a damn about anybody else. Believe me, I'm just looking out for your best interests. Like you and your triad looked out for my brother? You know he's still paying for his reconstructive surgery, you bastard? If a man wants to keep his teeth, he should pay what he owes rather than pull a gun on me. Simple as that. Cool. I'm not gonna read the poetry slam ones. Fuck those ones. I've got a courier job next week that's supposed to take me into the walled city. I'm from Kuala Lumpur, and I've never been to Hong Kong, but I hear that place is dangerous as hell. Is there anything I should know? Oh, you've got nothing to worry about. It's just a low-cost housing development full of hard-working people. Here, take a look at this news report. Oh, God. A short tread clip begins playing. This is Sunny Chung with Horizon News. On today's Sunny Side Up, the Kowloon Walled City, a blight on the free enterprise zone, or low-cost housing for the economically disadvantaged. We'll introduce you to some of the hard-working residents, how they live, and how they contribute to the growth and prosperity of our city. A montage sequence plays, showcasing the destitute poor of the walled city going about their daily lives. The shots have been carefully chosen, showing only smiling and productive residents, a stark contrast to your own experience inside it. Many residents of Hong Kong regard the walled city as a place of no return. To outsiders, it's the last stop on a long road to homelessness. Rumors abound of feral ghouls, unsafe living conditions, and triad extortion. Yet when we went there, the reality was far different. What we saw will shock you. Citizens of Hong Kong, working and living just like the rest of us. Their apartments are smaller and their shops more modest. But the people who live here wouldn't be out of place anywhere in the Fez. Citizens like shoemaker Chow Sang Sui. Sui. The scene cuts to an elderly man in the closet-sized stall filled with shoemaking equipment. He smiles broadly at the camera. Oh, I love it here. We have a community, you know? We're like family. Maybe we don't have as nice a view as they do in Repulse Bay, but I can't imagine living anywhere else. It's not paradise, no, but it's my home. I grew up here. How could I possibly leave? The camera shifts back to Sunny Chung, who now stands in front of one of the entrances to the walled city. Contrary to popular opinion, the walled city serves a vital function. The poor and downtrodden find a home in the walled city, a community where they have a voice, can work, and even prosper, far from being the eyesore that... The video suddenly stutters, freezes, and ends. Okay, I've decided to cut the rest of that crap. She keeps going on about what a good place the walled city is and how we all need it. Don't buy any of it. It may not be hell, but you can see it from there. Freedom Cowboy is just trying to get you in trouble. Hey, that's Isabel. So, how do you know the real story? Because I grew up there. You know what it's really like? It's like eating old broth made from rat bones because there's nothing else. It's watching your neighbors sell their 5-year-old son to organ leggers so they don't starve to death. When you die in the walled city, your neighbors cheer because they'll get the clothes off your back. I wouldn't wish the walled city on my worst enemy. Huh. Her history with the walled city is dark and unfortunate. That's why I really didn't want to bring her in there. To deal with Bao. It just wouldn't seem right. Wu's cabin appears to be the only clean spot on the bolt hole. His equipment is neatly laid out on his bedding, grouped by type, arranged just so. He's currently in the process of cleaning his weapon with meticulous care.
Well, that's that, I guess. We're runners now.
I forgot to ask about benefits. Think we get medical and dental care? He stops for a moment, stares at the weapon in his hand.
Damn, I don't think we took the brochure. We'll have to ask for it the next time we have an audience with our Chinese syndicate crime lord.
He looks down the barrel of his gun, blows into it.
You look like you want to talk about something. What's the topic?
I want to talk about Raymond.
Okay, shoot.
What do you think's going on with him?
I don't know, Bubusky. He was clearly obsessed with the walled city and whatever prosperity is. He sounds like a sleepwalker trying to stumble his way through a dream or something. A sleepwalker who hires Shadowrunners.
From Triad bosses.
Raymond was smart as hell. I'm sure he had a reason for using Kindly Cheng as a fixer.
Why do you think he came to Hong Kong?
Well, he's from here, right? It sounds like he had unfinished business that he needed to take care of before... You think he's dying?
Maybe.
Just something to think about.
Did he say anything about me after I left?
You know Raymond, Bubusky. He taught us what he wanted to teach us, told us what he wanted us to know. Everything else was met with a wall of good-natured silence. He used to say, "You are the master of the unspoken word, Mr. Wu. Once it is out of your mouth, it is out of your control." So no, after you left, he never said a word about you. Not a word.
Seems good. Let's talk about being Shadowrunners.
What's there to say? I worked my ass off to pull myself out of the gutter and make something out of my life. I did what it took to earn my bronze, and now I'm a mercenary hiding in the shadows of a foreign country, doing dirty jobs that the corps need to keep off the books. It's the reverse of everything I ever wanted. You seem to be taking it pretty well, so let me ask you something. You said that you had nothing back home and that's why you were cool with becoming a runner. Was that true?
You know it's true. When I got out of that prison, I had nothing. I still have nothing.
That's bleak. Seriously bleak.
He shakes his head.
We really went in different directions, Bubusky. You to jail and me to Lone Star. Well, I get that you've got nothing back home, but this is all about Raymond for me. I need to understand what happened to him and who's responsible. I need justice.
What's your opinion of Kindly Cheng?
I'd say she's got us right where she wants us, right under her thumb. What do you want to talk about specifically?
What do you think she wants from us?
As long as her network keeps delivering information about Raymond, I don't care. At least for now. We need to stay with her. We have no other connections in Hong Kong. Without her, we're dead in the water.
You think we can trust her?
A triad boss and underground fixer? No, I don't think we can trust her. But as long as we all share the same goals, we should be okay.
I wish I had your confidence.
Look, it's simple. She provides jobs, we do jobs. She gets info about Raymond and that plastic-faced man, and we figure out what the hell is going on. We figure out what's going on, she doesn't end up in the trunk of a car at the bottom of the river. Everybody wins.
What about this plastic-faced man?
Creepy dudes are nothing new to me, even well-dressed creepy corporate dudes. Between the gangers we grew up with and the shit that I've run into as a cop, I've seen all kinds. I just want to know who he is and who he works for.
We should keep an eye on Strangler Bow.
We should keep an eye on everybody, and that guy is definitely no exception. I've seen plenty of cold killers in the Barrens and plenty more since I joined Lone Star. This guy's the real deal. I'm not sure if he knows what the word remorse even means. You should steer clear of him.
I'll be careful.
Uh-huh, I can see that.
Let's talk about Goblin and Isabel.
They seem competent, considering how young they are. But then again, they sound like they've been taking care of themselves since they were pretty young. The three of us work together well in the Walled City. Based on that, I'd bet the four of us would make a solid crew.
You trust them?
As far as I can trust any runner, yeah. It's like Raymond used to say, trust and verify. They haven't given me a reason not to trust them, so until they do, I'll believe what they say and keep my eyes open.
I can't get that dream that I had out of my head. You said you had one too, right?
Yeah, yours sounded like a nasty one. I don't remember much about mine. I was pretty creeped out by our run into the Walled City. Between that and all the drama, I'd be surprised if I didn't have a nightmare.
He shrugs. Was the Walled City in your dream?
Of course the Walled City was in my dream. It was a nightmare, wasn't it?
He gives you a lopsided grin.
Was it in your dream too?
Sure looked like it.
I'm not sure I'm surprised. The Walled City is more than just another slum and a sprawl. Hell, it is a sprawl. Of course we dreamed about it. The feeling I had there has stayed with me. It felt thick, heavy, and I got this overwhelming feeling of, I don't know, wretchedness, I guess.
What do you remember about yours?
Just little snatches of things.
He puts his hands on his hips and concentrates.
The Walled City was breathing, and it had teeth everywhere. And there was a tunnel that was so bright that I had to shut my eyes. And Raymond was there. He was either kneeling or lying down, I can't remember which, but he was crying. That's what made me wake up, the sound of my father crying.
Did it feel any different from other nightmares you've had? He takes his time, thinks about his answer a bit before he responds.
You know how sometimes you'll be mad at a friend in a dream and then wake up still mad at him? Then you treat him like he did something wrong when you see him? It kind of feels like that to me. Like I dreamed I was swimming towards a bright light, and when I woke up, I was out of breath from the effort.
We're done.
Later's good. I want to do some cardio, work off some steam. Then it's rack time for me. You should do the same, Bubuski. A couple hundred push-ups will do you good.
Please, I could bust out 200 in my sleep. He raises an eyebrow.
I'd love to see that sometime. But for now, you should clear up. I want to get started, and this cabin isn't big enough for two.
Alright, let's go do the rounds before we head off to do the job. Isabel isn't always super talkative, but we'll give it a shot. I feel like I should always take a drink after I voice Duncan, because it takes a lot out of me. Isabel's cabin is an exercise in controlled chaos. Her living space is utterly dominated by an enormous jury-rigged computer. Serpentine cables snake from component to component, tying dozens of obsolete terminals and cyberdecks together into a single colossal machine. This is my personal machine. If you're looking for your mission computer, it's downstairs. She doesn't bother looking up. You can see that she's elbow deep in the guts of an obsolete cyberdeck, one of a half dozen that have been wired into her computer with braided cables. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you. Got a second? There's a long pause, then she chirps out a response. We're talking now, aren't we? I guess so, yeah. Can I ask a few questions? She leans in, scrutinizing the innards of the obsolete deck. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Have you been having weird dreams recently? Her body goes still. Yes, I think that everybody has. Me too. I've been having horrible nightmares. I know. It happens more often than you'd think. She tilts her head in the direction of the walled city. This kind of mass psychosis was common where I grew up. Everybody got... Oh. Everybody got it. What is it? What's causing it? I don't know. Slowly, she begins rummaging through the guts of the obsolete cyberdeck again. I don't think that I want to. That's quite a machine you're working on. Care to tell me about it? She's my pet project. I call her the octopus. She waves a hand at the tangle of thick power cables that radiate out from the machine's central core. You might be able to guess why. Impressive work. How well does it perform? She's a monster. She yanks a fried chip from the deck's motherboard and neatly sets it aside, then fumbles in a nearby bin for a replacement. An absolute beast. What is this thing made of? Whatever I could find. Busted terminals, obsolete cyberdecks, aftermarket memory from Maximum Law's dumpster. Scavengers would kill for this stuff in the walled city, but out here people throw it away. She chuckles to herself as she eases a card into an empty expansion slot. Most deckers are early adopters. They buy whatever's newest, shell out huge amounts of new yen in hopes of riding the bleeding edge. Stupid. Why? Because I can have 5 of last year's model for a quarter of the price of that whiz new cyberdeck. And after I finish daisy chaining them together, the machine that I've built will run circles around your hot new deck. Yeah, and you'll need a flatbed truck to carry it. Do we look like we're hurting for space to you? She rummages in a bin to her lap and pulls out a stick of solid-state memory. It disappears into the deck that she's working on. I've got a whole boat to work with, your cabin included if I told Gobbet I needed it. Be my guest. I wouldn't mind. A long pause. Huh. Well, I was joking, but if you're really okay with it, I might someday. We'll see. What about your portable gear? Your cyberdeck software, that kind of thing? It gets the job done. Might not be top of the line, but I'm comfortable using it in the field. If you should happen to come across any more advanced hardware or software, either on the job or on the discount rack at Law's Techno Palace, I'm not above taking donations. But barring that, I'm fine with using what I've got. Your call. Can we talk about the ambush at Victoria Harbor? I'd rather not. I lost friends there. Sorry, didn't mean to pry. You don't have to apologize. Just change the subject. He returns her attention to the octopus, turning her back on you. I'd like to get to know you better. Tell me something about yourself. Something? He pauses for a moment. Okay, I don't like small talk. Does that count? Yeah, of course. If you don't want to talk, we don't have to talk. Thanks for not pushing it. It's nothing personal. I just don't think that I'm a very interesting person. You don't like talking about things other than your computer very much, do you? There's a long pause before she responds. When she does, she sounds vaguely hurt. I prefer not to. Nothing personal. It's just the way that I am. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to know who I'm running with. Don't you? Yes, you're still a mystery to me. There's a long pause. I don't like mysteries, but I do enjoy solving them. She turns, giving you her full attention. So here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna ask you a question, something personal. After you've given me an answer, you get to ask me something. Think of it like a game of questions. We take turns until one of us wants to quit. Deal? Deal. You go first. Ask away. She studies your face. We'll start off easy. Tell me, what do you really think about Duncan? He can be a pain in the ass, but he's like a brother to me. Interesting. Her eyes flit to the doorway of Gobbet's cabin. The corner of her mouth tilts upwards into a slight smile. And a little familiar. Well, you've answered my question. I guess that makes it your turn. How long have you been running the shadows with Gobbet? That's a good question. I guess about 4 years now? A decent stretch by anyone's reckoning. And that would make it my turn. She pauses, considering. So tell me, what was your connection to Raymond Black? This, I feel, this is a really good chance for us to, like, kind of flesh out who our character is. And I do like the idea of Alley Cat's thing that made her leave Duncan and Raymond being a run. Like, being a shadow run. Like, she was already dipping a foot in the water of becoming a shadow runner. And now that the current situation has come up, she's like, oh, fuck, yes, finally. I get to actually do this. But also, I don't know. I don't know how this kind of character would view Raymond, in general. I do like the idea of... Because, like, in Shadowrun Dragonfall, you kind of join, like, an established crew as, like, kind of like a newer Shadowrunner. And then slowly throughout the course of the game, those characters kind of, like, become family, you know? So I do like the idea of, like, there being, like, a family element linked into being a Shadowrunner. So I do like the idea of Alley Cat considering Raymond to be, like, her father, even though he would massively disapprove of her being a Shadowrunner. Yeah, I think I'll go with that. He was like a father to me. Me and Duncan, he got us out of the Barrens. In that case, I'm sorry for your loss. Losing the ones that you love is hard. Your turn. Ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. How did you and Gobbet meet? Her brow furrows, and after a moment she screws her eyes shut. We met as kids, in the walled city. My prison was her playground. I'm sorry if that was uncomfortable for you. No, it isn't that. I'll be fine. She shifts her gaze to the octopus. I just have a hard time remembering those days. My childhood is kind of a blur. And that brings us back to my turn. She gestures to the cabin walls around you. You enjoy it, don't you? Living like this? Working the shadows? Yeah, Raymond Black was wrong. This is what I was born to do. She nods slowly. I knew it. I could read it all over you. Your turn again. Go ahead, ask me something. Where did you learn to deck? The Wampoa. I lived there for a while after escaping the walled city. The people there were difficult. We didn't get along, but it was a great place to learn. My turn again. Her head tilts as she studies your face. And I think my last question for you. You're stuck here, marooned. You and Duncan both. He's obviously unhappy with the situation. He keeps going on about the things that he left behind. But what about you? Is there anything that you want to get back to? Nothing worth mentioning. Truth be told, I'm enjoying the change of scenery. Nothing? There isn't anything about your old life that you'll miss? I don't know whether to envy you or feel sorry for you. She glances down at the clock on her desk, an antique model with physical hands that looks like it was wrenched out of a submarine. A frown spreads across her face. Shit, it's even later than I thought, and I've still got a long way to go before the octopus is fixed. She begins to turn away, her attention fixed on the stack of partially disassembled cyberdecks arrayed in front of her. Aren't you forgetting something? She stops in place, fidgets. If you've got another question, go ahead and ask, but be quick about it. I need you to tell me what you can about the walled city. Her voice goes cold. Why? Because Raymond Black wanted to go in there, and somebody destroyed my life to keep him from doing that. Her cheeks flush just like they did the last time. She averts her eyes. No, I'm sorry, but no. Later maybe, but not now. Alright, Isabel. Maybe next time. Blinking, she turns away and buries herself in the octopus's splayed innards. Please excuse me. I have work to do. Alright. I don't want to push her. Like, that's obviously some, like, deep trauma going on there. Gobbet's nest is pretty much what you'd expect. Piles of clothes on the ground, an overflowing garbage bin surrounded by stacks of instant noodle packets, and towers of tinned oysters. Avant-garde posters haphazardly thumbtacked to the walls, overlapping in some places and peeling in others. It feels a lot like an old art school dorm room. Gobbet reclines in the corner, cradling a bowl of soup in her hands. At her feet, a cast iron pot simmers away on an electric hot plate. The contents are typical Hong Kong comfort food. Chicken-style soya broth, elbow macaroni, tinned ham, and a heaping scoop of egg-flavored mycoprotein. As you wind your way through the piles of dirty laundry, Gobbet slowly lifts her head from her bowl to acknowledge you. Hey, Seattle! Cheers on the words along with a mouthful of cheap pasta. A corner of her mouth curls up into a half smile. How's tricks? Things have been better. Things have been worse. That's the attitude. Very stoic. Very strong. It's downright inspiring. She skims an oily slab of faux ham off the top of her soup and pops it into her mouth. Now, you want to tell me what you're doing in my bedroom? I'm assuming you're not here to admire the view. How did you decide on the name Gobbet anyway? I didn't. She pops a noodle into her mouth and chews. My mom did. So Gobbet is your given name? Your mother named you after a wad of meat? She shrugs. Yeah, sure. I don't think she knew what it meant. She just thought that it sounded pretty. You should get used to that, by the way. People here in Hong Kong like to stand out, and choosing unique names is one of the ways that they do it. Have you had any nightmares recently? Like, bad ones? Her jaw stops working mid-chew. Slowly, she nods. Yeah, I have. We all have. Everyone in town. Me too. And Isabel. We both just had the same nightmare. Let me guess. You saw the walled city and a black whirlpool and teeth. Thousands and thousands of teeth. She holds up a hand. You don't need to answer. I already know that I'm right because I had the same dream. Creepy, I know. Her voice goes quiet. The dreams are coming from inside the walled city, I'm sure of it. All of the negative energy pent up in there, all of that pain and anger and poisonous ki, it's leaking out. And while we sleep, it's getting into us. You think that this is a magical phenomenon then? Yeah, I think it is. Want my personal opinion? The walled city is cursed. Deep down, I think that everybody knows it. And we live in its shadow. That's bound to mess with your head, you know? And it is. But they're just dreams. It's not like they can hurt us, right? Who says that they can't? She tries on a smile, fails, does her best to laugh it off. Don't worry, Seattle, we're fine here. But, let's talk about something else, huh? I don't like thinking about the walled city very much. Too many old fears and bad feelings. If you're up to talking about it, I wanted to go over the ambush back on the docks with you. Yeah. She nods slowly, frowning. Yeah, I figured you would. That was a hell of a thing, right? I'd go a little further than that. It was a clusterfuck of epic proportions. She nods. Yeah, that it was. Nightjar and Gutshot were two of the strongest men I've ever known. Quality Shadowrunners, both of them. I've watched those two fight through situations that'd kill anyone and come out on top. And how do they go out? She mimes holding a rifle, makes a show of peering down the scope. Bang, bang, dead, dead. No blaze of glory, no final speech, just extinguished. Smashed like bugs. We would have gone the same way if you hadn't gotten us out of there. She absentmindedly raises her bowl to her shoulder. A rat crawls over the slope of her back and lowers its head to lap at the broth. It was more a rat than me. She's the one who grabbed me by the gut and led us to that sewer entrance. All that I did was follow. I'd like to know more about Rat. What kind of totem is she? She slurps thoughtfully at her soup. A clever one. She's gotten me out of more trouble than I care to mention. Gotten me into a fair amount of it, too. But I can always count on her to lead me out of hot water when I need her to. I can feel it in my belly, you know? Sort of a tugging sensation. I've long since learned to follow it. I wasn't aware that totems took such direct control of the shamans. Usually they don't. Me and Rat, we have a sort of special bond. She takes care of me, and I've always done my best to take care of her. Another pair of beady eyes blinks up at you from Gobbet's hip. A second rat scurries up her shoulder to join the first. And to pamper her earthly children like these two. Meet madness and folly. So, this is interesting because this is such a good, like, combo of names that in both, Wasteland 3 and Divinity Original Sin 1, I have named the, dual characters Madness and Folly. Because it's just such a fucking... It's so good. It's so strong. And also, it's, like, pretty specifically in honor of Gobbet, because she's very good. Are they just normal rats, then? I thought they might have been spirits or something. Nope, just rats. She brushes her fingers across the white rat's mottled coat. Don't trust Folly. She bites. Do you always let your rats drink out of your own bowl? She shrugs. Sure, why not? We're all part of the same nest. Makes as much sense as anything else, I guess. Of course it does. Besides which, I get shot at for a living. I've got bigger things to worry about than a few stray hairs in my noodles. How did you come across Madness and Folly? She raises an eyebrow. I looked outside. I mean, they're rats. Hong Kong isn't experiencing a rat shortage or anything. So you just picked them up off the street? Yep, think of them as rescue vermin. You could probably do the same if you wanted to. It's easy. Just walk into an alleyway in Kowloon after sundown and stick your hand in the first dumpster or storm drain that you come across. Keep fishing around until you touch fur. I might just have to try that. You probably shouldn't. She continues to brush Folly's coat. The creature trips happily at her touch. Odds are about 50-50 that you'd get your hand chewed off. I'd probably feel bad about that. You seem pretty comfortable with all this. Been running the shadows for a while? She dips her chin. A long time. Started when I was just a kid. Yeah? I gather you've seen a lot of action then. She rolls her shoulders. Plenty. Been in more firefights than I can count. You're pretty new at this, you and Duncan both. It shows. She takes a moment to study you. Slowly, her mouth tilts into a smirk. What you need is a wizened mentor, an experienced runner from whose experience you can benefit. I'm thinking that might as well be me. Sure, why not? I could use the advice, and I don't see Isabel volunteering for the job anytime soon. You're in? Good. Starting the next time you visit, I'm going to teach you all about being a Shadowrunner. She stifles a yawn. You're gonna benefit from my bountiful experience. Wait and see. I'll be looking forward to it. Gobbet stretches, stifles a yawn. Her rats scurry from her shoulders down to her hips. She taps the simmering pot on the floor with her foot. The soup inside is reduced down into a thick, viscous gravy. You know, Seattle, this has been a nice chat and all, but it's getting late. And I still have the rest of a hot pot to power through. So, without wanting this to get awkward, she glances toward the door. See no more. I'll get out of your hair. Take it easy, Gobbet. Yeah, you too. I love Gobbet so much. She's so good. I love my rat daughter. She's just the best.